madhouse.
You don't miss it?
No.
Okay, we ready? This should be a fun morning. There's more people in the field than there are on the stands today, so this should be easy. Can we have a roll call? This is the Friday, June 9th meeting of the Palm Beach County Planning Commission.
Sarah Pardue. John Carr. Here. Rick Stopik.
Here.
Barbara Roth.
Here.
Dagmar Bross. Varissa Laudas. Penny Pompey.
Present.
Sam Calindo. Lori Vinegar.
Here.
Kylie Harper Larson.
Here.
Ankur Patel.
Here.
Angela Van. Brian Stenberg.
Here.
David Searle.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you so much. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and do we have proof of publication?
Good morning, and yes, Chair, we do.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any postponements or changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Cool. All right, and the minutes from the last meeting of April 14th. May was a bye. Take a look. Anybody care to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. And who do we have for second? Kylie, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any comments by the public on non-agenda items? I have no cards. We're just rocking right along here. Okay. Very good. And a couple of comments by the chair. First and foremost, we'd like to welcome our new member to the dais here. We have Varissa Das at the end. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to working with you. And also, the July meeting, if we have a July meeting, Stephanie wasn't sure if it is not. I will be absent, but Lori will be here, so we're covered for that. And that's about it, really. It's a fairly short agenda today, so we can move right into it. Those of us who were up late at the hockey game appreciate the short agenda and my lack of voice. Okay, this is the First Care Office. Item 3A1 on the agenda for those keeping track. And who shall we hear? Do we have from the applicant, please?
Good morning. I'm Lauren McClellan with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. This morning I'm going to be presenting the small-scale amendment known as the First Care Office on behalf of the applicant and property owner First Care. I do have a representative of First Care with me here today. The request today is a future land use amendment from low residential 1 unit per acre to commercial low office with an underlying 1 unit per acre. So the 0.98 acre property is located on the south side of North Lake Boulevard to the west of Military Trail. More specifically, it's located at the southeast corner of North Bates Road and North Lake Boulevard. To the east of the property is an existing daycare. To the west is the Place of Hope administrative offices as well as some other offices. To the south is the Square Lake residential subdivision. The proposed office will be a good transitional use from the single-family residential to the south to North Lake Boulevard to the north, and then, as you'll see, the higher intensity land uses to the north. So just to look at the, more specifically at the map, so again, on the north side of North Lake Boulevard, there are very intense residential and commercial uses. We've got HR 8, MR5, commercial high, and then immediately to the north, we have the highest residential designation, HR 12. More localized next to our property, we have existing commercial low office with an underlying 1 to the west, and then to our south and to our east, we have low residential 1, and then along Military Trail is all commercial low. So to go back to that commercial low that is along North Lake Boulevard, those are all prior adopted amendments from low residential 1 to commercial low office. starting with the first, with the Place of Hope, which was in 2017. And then the next one was 2018, a little bit to the west of that. And then more recently, last year, you probably heard the one that is further to the west in 2022 for commercial law office. So staff is recommending approval of the request. It is consistent with the comp plan. It's consistent with the U.S. tier requirements. It's compatible with the surrounding area and consistent with prior approvals. We respectfully request a recommendation of approval, and if you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, and let's see, Lori?
Good morning. For the record, Lori Harari with the Planning Division. The item before you is the privately initiated small-scale future land use Atlas Amendment First Care Office. The subject site is approximately 0.98 acres and is located on the south side of North Lake Boulevard, west of North Military Trail, on the northern edge of the Square Lake neighborhood. The applicant is requesting an amendment to change the future land use designation from low residential, one dwelling unit per acre, to commercial low office with an underlying 1 unit per acre. The concurrent zoning application is requesting to rezone the site from residential transitional to commercial low office and is proposing 3,000 square feet of medical office uses and just below 5,500 square feet of professional office uses, totaling to just under 8,500 square feet of commercial low office uses. Here is an aerial view of the area, with the site outlined with the red and white dashed line. As previously mentioned, the site lies at the northern edge of the Square Lake neighborhood, which has an LR1 future land use designation, and low-density residential uses. Along the south side of North Lake Boulevard, and also at the intersection of North Lake Boulevard and North Military Trail, are properties with commercial future land use designations, ranging from commercial low office to commercial high. North of the site is a mixture of future land use designations, with residential ranging from LR1 to HR12, as well as commercial high and institutional. Further east and west are the municipal limits of the city of Palm Beach Gardens. Here is a closer view of the site, outlined with the red and white dashed line. West of the site are 3 previously adopted small-scale amendments known as Place of Hope Outreach Center, Place of Hope Commercial West, and Americo Center that were adopted in 2017, 2018, and 2022, and changed the future land use of each site to CLO1 to develop medical and professional office uses similar to the request before you today. Staff reviewed the amendment request and determined that the proposed CLO1 future land use provides a transitional use between North Lake Boulevard and the low-density residential uses to the south. In addition, the proposed commercial low office future land use is compatible with the adjacent residential and non-residential uses, including the recently approved future land use amendments along the North Lake Boulevard corridor. This proposed amendment is also consistent with the objectives, goals, and policies of the comprehensive plan, including the commercial location criteria, which allows commercial low office future land use designations to be assigned to mid-block properties in the urban-suburban tier, so long as they have frontage on a collector or arterial roadway. Staff is recommending approval of this amendment request, and the motion is to recommend approval. This concludes my presentation. Staff is here to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. At this time, I would ask any of my fellow commissioners, we'll start with Dagmar here, and we'll work our way down, if they have any questions of the applicant or the staff.
I do not.
Okay. John? John, nothing? Penny? Ankur?
Just a quick question. The variances are a separate application in conjunction with the zoning application?
The variants are part of the concurrent zoning application.
Okay, so we don't have to comment anything on what we think on any of those aspects, correct?
Correct. You're right. The issue before you is the future land use amendment.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Barbara? Okay. To my left, Lori?
No questions.
And Kylie? Moving on down the line? No? And our newest member, any questions? Okay, thank you. This is too easy. Okay. It's like we could have phoned this one in. All right, so, okay. Seeing no questions, would someone like to present a motion?
Make a motion.
I can motion if you'd like.
Which way am I going? Lori?
Doesn't matter.
Motion?
Okay.
Motion to approve, Lori?
Okay.
Second.
Yeah,
From
motion
Barbara?
to approve. Just to let you know, I remember when we changed that to mid-block, and it's interesting how many times this has gone through. Several prior development applications, and even one of them was for commercial, which was denied because it wasn't mid-block. And we've changed those rules. I remember that. So this is very good. This does appear to be, whenever something can be a transitional application where the use, that's excellent. So I do make the motion to recommend staff's approval.
Okay. Any discussion amongst the commissioners? I'll start down here on my left this time regarding the pending motion.
No, I have no comment.
Great, thank you. Sir? No? Good?
Nothing beyond I like it.
And it seems to be the consensus. Okay, nothing moving this way? Nothing moving this way? Okay.
I think it's a great job. Just on the record, I would say for the variances on the landscape buffer, I would like to keep it the way it is and not necessarily change that to a lower, because I think on North Lake, the greenery, and especially Square Lake, is so green. I think it needs to stay sort of green going as an entrance to Square Lake. But other than that, great project, great transition. Appreciate it.
Great. Penny? On Dagmar? Nothing?
No question.
Okay, let's call the question.
I'm sorry to interject. Did we have a second on that motion?
Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Barbara.
Sorry about that. Thank
And
you.
there's nobody out here. I have no comment cards from anyone. I have no input at all from the audience. So, Precious, can we have a roll call vote?
Sure. John Carr,
Yes.
Barbara Roth,
Yes.
Lori Vinegar,
Yes.
Penny Pompey, Dagmar Bras, Kylie Harper Larson,
Yes.
Ankar Patel,
Yes.
Rick Stopik,
Yes.
David Searle,
Yes.
Brian Stenberg,
Yes.
Varissa Laudas.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Unanimous vote. I wonder if the commissioners will take note of that. Okay, at that point, there's nothing else on the agenda. Do we have any comments from the commission members? Let's start down with our newest member. Do you have any comments now that probably the most abbreviated meeting we've had actually in about a year. I think we had one other one that was pretty quick, but this might be setting the record.
This was run so efficiently.
Don't look at me.
You did.
These guys out here.
I enjoyed the presentations. They were very thorough. So I serve on the Port Commission. I'm a Port Commissioner, and there's 5 of us. And the fact that there's a lot more people in this room on this commission, and the fact that it's so efficiently run is, very encouraging. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, anything? Nothing? Okay, anything from David? No, Kylie? No. Really? Wow. Barb? Okay.
Happy summer soon.
Happy summer. Okay, and Ankur, anything? Penny? John? Dagmar?
I just want to say, I do believe Lori is new.
I am.
And I want to say welcome. You did a nice job. I know it's always a little nerve-wracking.
Thank you so much.
very
Thank
nice.
you.
Your first couple meetings. I think you were here the first time, and I've been here a while. But welcome, and you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything from our executive director?
Just thank you to staff always for preparing so well. And then welcome to our newest commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything from our attorney?
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Planning Director.
I feel bad. My report might be the longest part of the meeting today.
Keep it short if you would.
First, welcome to the new planning commissioner. And as a follow-up, I know there had been a request for follow-up after items come before the planning commission and then proceed to the Board of County Commissioners. So I'm going to run through a bunch of items. But we've talked internally in the future as adding an administrative item to the end of the agenda that'll have a summary. So that way, instead of me having to verbally go through, it can be in the packet and it can, highlight what the action was before the Planning Commission and then what the Board of County Commissioners did. So you have that as part of your packet. But for today, I'll just run through some of the items that were at both the May 3rd Board of County Commissioners public hearing and then 2 items that were at BCC zoning hearings, but had a land use component that was before the Planning Commission. So at the May 3rd hearing, the 60th Street North TIM amendment, the Planning Commission had recommended approval of that item, and the Board of County Commissioners did adopt that. In the Agricultural Reserve, the Gold Coast Logistics text initiation, so that wasn't yet a site-specific, but the text initiation had a recommendation of denial by the Planning Commission, but that was initiated by the Board of County Commissioners. The Bedner Farms Agricultural Marketplace text initiation had a recommendation from the Planning Commission to initiate, and the board did initiate that item. The Biltmore Acres Lantana Rural Enclave Overlay, Planning Commission had recommended approval, and the board transmitted that item. The modifications to the Commerce Future Land Use text specific to the Agricultural Reserve, which focused on a reduction of the FAR, Planning Commission had recommended approval, and the board did transmit that item. Also in the Agricultural Reserve, the Erickson property for the congregate living residential, Planning Commission had recommended approval with conditions as proposed by staff, and the board transmitted with those conditions. And last from the May 3rd hearing was the Indian Trails Grove Agricultural Reserve Exchange. The Planning Commission had recommended denial of that, and the board did transmit with some direction to staff. And then 2 items at recent BCC zoning hearings. The March 23rd BCC zoning hearing, the Towns at Tidewater amendment was adopted. If you'll remember, the application request was for MR5. The Planning Commission recommended LR3 with purchase of TDRs, and that's the action that the board adopted, was the LR3 with TDRs. The zoning application was postponed and is scheduled for the June 22nd BCC zoning hearing. And at the May 25th BCC zoning hearing, the State Road 7 Business Plaza was adopted. So I know that was a lot of items, but
That was longer than the meeting.
it was.
But we appreciate it. No, I speaking personally, I like that information. It's good to get the feedback and at all at one concise time. So thank you very much for providing that.
That was all I had.
Terrific. No other comments, no other business before this commission this morning. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Don't all jump in. Okay, everybody. So approved. Everyone, thank you so much, and have a good weekend.